everybody, and welcome back to the Creative Life Studio. So today we're going to be playing with four of my favorite companies: Gel Press, DecoArt acrylic paint, Picket Fence Studio stamps, and some illustrated faith. We're starting out today with some acrylic paint on my 8x10 gel press plate. I chose these colors specifically because they match the colors in the You Belong series that I am using from Illustrated Faith. And I'm just starting out with my pink and my coral color to add a background. And then I'm using, this is called Circle of Faith from Picket Fence Studios. I kind of liked it because we're kind of doing a music kind of throwback theme, and I like that it not only is called Circle of Faith, but it's also kind of reminiscent of a record, and so I thought that was kind of cool. And so I'm just taking my 8x10 gel press plate and placing it on uh, a blank page in my interleaved Bible. So if you're not familiar with the interleaved Bible, it's the one that has a blank page opposite each page of scripture. So it just gives you more room to play and have fun. And of course, I do have that piece of wax paper just protecting those other pages. So that is just my fun little funky textured background to start our project. And next I'm going to do I think it's fun, other people find it boring, of fussy cutting out all my little pieces of my printables. I love this particular collection because it speaks to the 80s girl in me, just with rainbows and mixtapes and all that kind of fun stuff. For those scriptures today, we're going to be using Psalm 139, not necessarily a specific scripture, but kind of just um, the whole chapter. My brain's not working, because the whole chapter is about God knowing our heart. And so on one of these little mixtape cassettes, it had the words messy heart, like it was the title of a song. And I just really fell in love with that idea, and this idea that God has searched us and he knows our hearts and he knows it's messy and he knows that we're definitely not perfect, but he chooses not only to love us anyway, but just to allow us to be representatives of him even in kind of our messy life. So that's kind of why I chose this idea. And so I cleaned up my little mess there, and I've got all my little things picked out. And from Picket Fence Studios, they had this super cute mixtape stamp, which I thought, how perfect is that? Especially because I was going to buy the Illustrated Faith mixtape set, and I didn't get it before it all went bye-bye. So this was really great find, and I'm using it to make just an all-over textured background to reinforce my little cassette tapes. I did put that little piece of paper right there just so I could get real close to the edge, but not accidentally stamp on my adjoining page. I am loving this stamp. I'm sure I will use it again at some point. But it just, like I said, it just speaks to the 80s kid in me, with some cassette tapes. I mean, come on, leave a comment down below if you ever made a mixtape. And if you're really old, your mixtape consisted of stuff you recorded off the radio. I'm pretty much showing my age at the moment. All right. And then I decided I wanted to reinforce that image. So I just took some old, I think it's actually leftover printables, and just flipped it over, and I'm cutting a white version of my cassette tape out to use as part of my background. And now I'm just going to start playing with all of my printables and kind of deciding how I want them to layer, how I want them to sit. And so I decided I needed more of those little, I guess they kind of look like ticket kind of things, is kind of what they reminded me of. So I had to cut a couple more of those. And then I dug in my washi stash, and I found just some stuff that matches the colors, but I happen to have this one particular washi that, oh, there's my pink hair, that is very 80s themed, and I found it at the Dollar Tree. I'll take a close-up picture of it and put it down at the end of the video in case you want to go looking for it, but it's super funky, and it has like boom boxes and Pac-Man ghosts and all sorts of just really 80s fun themed stuff, so I knew it had to go on this somehow. So I wanted to break up my background just a little bit. So I am just using that washi tape that I dug from my stash in just kind of adding it to the background just to break up that cassette tape background that I had created with my gel press plate and my Picket Fence Studio uh, stamp. What's the right word? Stamp. So these are actually from the blue one is from Paper Studio. The black one with the images, like I said, is from Dollar Tree, and the other, the white washi tape, is from Illustrated Faith. And so that's kind of how I started my background, just layering those in. And then I grabbed some matte gel medium from DecoArt, and I'm going to use that just to adhere all of my little pieces down. You also see that I am going to go ahead and just matte gel medium the entire page, even if it's not specifically where I'm gluing something down. The reason I'm doing that is so that when I add other mediums and other layers on top, they all react the same way. If I tried to say add some kind of ink to a spot that just had acrylic paint versus the matte gel medium, it would react differently and you would be able to see the difference. So that's why you're going to see me going completely across the page with the matte gel medium so that everything looks good, or at least I think it does. I'm adding my little, I guess, ticket kind of things down there in the corner. I was like, kind of like, we're talking about music. It's kind of like concert tickets is kind of what it feels like to me. And so I'm going to stick them right there in the corner just to kind of add some oomph. And then I'm going to put my stuff up, and I think I bring it back out here in a minute because I decided I wanted to add something else. So I liked these little, these are part of the I believe that her name is Shawna Clingerman or something like that. If I'm wrong, I'll put a note right there. But she created this collection. They also had like just these little black and white pieces, and I really liked them because they kind of reinforced that stamped cassette tape image that I was using as well. And so I thought that was like a perfect little additive just to make that white cassette tape feel like it made more sense and it wasn't just like the only black and white image on this page. And so I thought that worked out really well that she had those images. And then there's just some few other little kind of hand-drawn doodles that I'm just adding to again, just to kind of reinforce that black and white image against all of these other brightly colored images. And so I'm just trimming off the edges that kind of hung over. I gave my daughter my good scissors, so these aren't my best scissors, so it took me a minute. And I'm just going to get that dry so that I can start just adding some extra layers and some details and some more fun and of course more color, because why not? We love more color. I'm not sure why I left the entire drying process in there, but there you go. That's how long it took me to dry it. So I'm digging through my Sharpies because I want to get all of my images to have that same kind of sharp black outline that my stamped image does and that my little white pieces had when I cut them out. And so I'm just taking, this is the Sharpie art pen, so it's going to be permanent, and just giving that kind of bold outline. It's not super scribbly like a lot of stuff that I do, but just to give that same texture and that same dark outline like my other images do. And it kind of feels like it's starting to have more cohesion because, again, that white stamped image makes more sense. Those little white pieces that had the black and white kind of make more sense. And so it's kind of starting to bring some cohesion to the entire piece. And I love a good scribble, I guess maybe my art style matches my heart. Maybe that's why I like this so much, because it's messy heart, messy art. Um, That might be the title of this video. I don't know. I haven't decided on that, but it kind of makes sense in my brain. So I like that. And so I am kind of have gotten all of those just beginning outlined. I might go back and add some more later. And then I want to give it some more just depth. And so I'm taking a blue Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pen and just going along the edges and then smudging it just so it gives more depth to my project and adds, again, more color because this is an electric blue. Hello, 80s. And so just going around, and again, this is why it's good that I put that entire matte gel medium along the whole thing, because it allows that pen and that ink in it to react the same way no matter where I put it. And that way I end up with a cohesive project. And so just adding it all around and giving it a nice little smoosh, smudge, whatever you want to call it, it works the same. And I love it because, I use a lot with like browns and blacks to give depth, but in this particular project, I wanted to, I don't know, use as many colors as possible and keep it that kind of bright, funky. And what is an 80s project without a little splatter paint? So to kind of give it that splattered effect, I'm just watering down just some white acrylic paint and just giving it some little flecks, and it kind of brightens the whole project up a little bit and kind of again reinforces that grungy 80s theme that we're kind of going for, which I love. 80s girl. I mean, I have pink hair, for crying out loud. So I'm going to leave this part in here. It didn't turn out as great as I hoped. So this is just some glitter acrylic from I think it's DecoArt. I can't even remember. And it wasn't as glittery as I had hoped, but it's in there. And if you see it real close, you can see little bits of glitter. But I kind of wish I had. They have another one called Extreme Glitter that I really wish I had because I think that would have had more of the glitter impact that I really wanted. But you can especially see it on the cloud in the close-up pictures. I'm getting this completely just dried so that I can move on to just those finishing little touches. As I was staring at it, I wanted to go ahead and reinforce that splatter paint kind of thing again. And so I just have this kind of decal rubber stamp that I use to kind of give it again that idea of kind of a splatter paint. And then I'm using my Illustrated Faith date stamp to make sure I date it up there at the top on that little tab. And then I decided it kind of needed just a few more little, oh, no, just kidding. I had to practice my title first and then accidentally got paint where it didn't belong. And so just using a plain old Sharpie because I wanted it to definitely look like the hello, my name is little things you would fill out at like a conference or something. And so I wasn't trying to be fancy about it. I just wanted it to literally look like you're standing at the checkout and you're filling out your little hello, my name is. Adding a few more stripes and we are done. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and I look forward to seeing you next time.